So first, Brigitte will present to you our view of the trends in the market, and then we'll ask each of the executive committee members that are in charge of one particular program to come and explain how they view their action for the next year or so, including myself, by the way. Okay, so Brigitte, it's your turn.
The presentation? They said they have the presentation? Okay. No, that's not the one. Yeah. There's another one. Okay. So actually, I will start. I was going to restart a little bit with the high-level numbers and then tell you about some of the trends and how those link to what we do at EBAN. As I mentioned yesterday, there's around 400 angel networks in Europe, and that's really divided by some countries that are in consolidation and other countries. Great. Oh God. Je pensais qu'avec ça, c'est bien ça, non? I'm the same as Nelson. What? Quoi? Ah, merci. D'accord. Non, c'est celui de droite. Great. First, a little bit of where we invest in our space. And so as you see, we're not, even though from a venture capital point of view, we're viewed as seed, in our definitions, we're very, very little pre-seed. Seed, we do some seed investments, and seed investment, when we talk about crowdfunding, so the first 50,000 or so euros that might be needed, so really finalizing a business plan, building a prototype. The majority of where we are is in the area of what we would call startup, and that is really the place where there's a few first clients, and we really are working with the entrepreneurs to help them understand what their economic model, the best economic model could be. As I was mentioning the numbers, so 400 angel networks, around 70,000 investors, several billion euros in investment. When we look at the key trends, the first one on angel networks, we have both some angel networks who are just beginning. So with the training services that we provide, that is very helpful, and the accreditation or quality programs that we're planning on setting up. And then for those who are in the stage now of often might have gotten a little bit of government funding at first. Now it's all about sustainability, and this is where we also participate in training and professional standards as EBAN. The next big thing that we saw yesterday, just a summary, is the governments. As we said, more and more governments are realizing, economic slowdown means more innovation and entrepreneurship, which then means access to finance, which then means business angels. And so that is really based on the work that we've done in lobbying, in awareness building, in the professional standards, and certainly in the research and benchmarking work that we do. So these are the kinds of initiatives and how those are linked to initiatives that we do at EBAN. And the last but not least, we saw we're still in industry, it's kind of the Porter model. We're still in industry where there's very many dynamics and it's not yet stabilized or who will be the major players. So we have some new players, and usually when those occur, as a thought leadership body, we get to know about them, we study them, and then we develop points of view and do lobbying along them and decide whether or not we think it makes sense for them to become full members of EBAN. And the last thing is, Sven did a great panel yesterday on corporate venturing. There again, it's when we start feeling that there's a trend or a need, a gap the first starting point is to do a white paper. So we've done one last year on women and impact investing, so entrepreneurs who are doing people, planet, profit. And this year we're working on one on the corporate, the links between corporations and business angels. So in summary, this is our mission. We believe that there's very much potential to at least triple what we have, what we can be as an asset class. And here are the 5 pillars of activities that we have. And now I pass it back to Philippe, who will give you highlights and the rest of members of the old executive committee on our current pillars.
Thank you, Brigitte. So out of those 5 pillars, we are going to try to explain to you how we face the different trends and what do we have in our plan to do next year. So I should probably... C'est lequel?
Normalement, c'est à droite. Oui, mais ils l'ont pas encore mis, cette présentation. Could you put the next presentation? No, the next one. They know it. It's ah voilà. Okay.
Okay, so why do we need, in our mind, to go in the direction of professional standards? We have, in fact, many different reasons. We have some external reason and some internal reasons. Within IBAN, we have different types of bans. First, we are just talking here about the professional standards for business angel networks. Later on, we have not worked on it at this time. Later on, we are going to have the same kind of program for seed funds, and probably we are going to have also the same kind of program for federations. At this time, we have only worked on the professional standards for bands. We have 2 reasons for that. Internally, we have very different state of development of the different bands. For just new bands, they are trying to get to improve their efficiency as a band, and they would need to be addressed and to have a training program to help them grow and increase their efficiency. The more mature bands have also a problem of increasing their efficiency, particularly for keeping with alive. Sometimes you have a sustainability issue in the big bands, and if you want to be really have the sustainability, you have to have some kind of increased efficiency and effectiveness of your network in terms of different process. Externally, we have a pressure from the different government, particularly, and even the observers. They are a little bit surprised of the various state of development of all the bands. They are not understanding exactly where we stand, what is a ban, and we need to have some kind of program to help them understand what a ban is about and what the efficiency of a ban and which ban are really the most efficient for them to decide to co-invest with them. At this time, we have co-investment programs everywhere floating around in different countries, and for the government mostly, which is setting those co-investment funds, they would like to know which bands are reliable enough for them to accept to co-invest with them. They are not ready to co-invest with all our members. They want to know which members are really worth being credible and co-invest with. So we have an external pressure, but we have also an internal reason to help the bands to grow and to remain sustainable in the future. So what do we have in our plan? The band qualification process is first, we have worked on the membership issue. We have to define exactly criteria for membership of EBAN in the terms of ban. We have defined exactly now what is a ban and what is not a ban. So if a candidate to be part of EBAN is not fulfilling those criteria, we are not going to refuse their membership. We are going to tell them, yes, you can be accepted, but you are accepted as an associate member. To be a full member, you have to have very specific criteria, which now are defined and which have been proposed to everybody. The second issue is what are the conditions and the characteristics and the stage of development of a ban. So we have two different approaches. One is that EBAN itself, that's in our program, will be looking for being certified by an external body. To certify and to be able to qualify and certify a member, you have first to be yourself certified. So EBAN is going to go and see which external official body could certify the processes that EBAN is using for its own work and its own strategy. Second, once we have done that certification process of EBAN, we are going to start the certification or the qualification program for EBAN first. How are we going to do it? We are going to do it by self-assessment on a voluntary basis. A ban who doesn't want to go through a qualification process will not do it. Nobody can force them to do it. If they don't see the benefit they can take out of it, then they don't do it. The ones that want to do it, they have a self-assessment of different processes. It's mostly on the processes and on the governance level. You have a series of processes in each ban. As you know, we have all the deal flow processes, related processes. We have all the normal area of sourcing, of due diligence, of closing, etc. And that is defined, and you have to self-assess the way you do it, and whether you do it on a formal basis, on an informal basis, whether it's published and known by everybody. So you have to answer a questionnaire on the deal flow processes and on the membership processes. How do you look and accept and the different members? Do you have a kind of checking of the rules of each member? So you have all those processes, deal flow and members, which are defined, and that you have to self-assess your position in the definition of those processes. Once that self-assessment is done, then there is a committee that will be set up, which will define whether we should consider that this ban is or not at a certain level of quality and professionalism at this stage. And but the decision to go through the process is only made by the network itself. At the end of the process, there will be some regular random audit, like it's done in the other organization, and finally to check that the self-assessment is true and that people are really doing and performing the processes the way they describe it. So that will be done progressively. You have two or three other things, which is the track record. For external professional standards, you need also to describe the track record of the ban itself and the track record of the governance of the ban. Because a co-investor, a public co-investor, will want to know at which stage of development and processes and governance you are, but also what is the track record of your ban to decide whether or not they are credible enough to co-invest with them. So we have a second and third part of the professional standards definition, which is the description of the track record of the network in terms of number of investment made, number of exits as well. And the same for the key people of the network, the ones that are really managing the network. The final part is the integration of the ban in the ecosystem of early stage investment. And that also is a characteristic of a network, whether or not they are really well connected with all the other members of the ecosystem or not. So those are the four parts and the four pillars of the professional standards process that is now defined. But the real most important today is the first one on the processes and governance, and then the other ones are just indicative and important for external approach of professional standards, because it's a request from the co-investor to really know the track record of the ban. So all that is defined now. What are the next steps for us? Next steps on that pillar is, first we have to define criteria of membership for membership of other type of members. We have done the work for bands. We have to do it now for seed fund, for other potential members, full members. We talked about accelerators, whether or not we should accept accelerators as members, full member of IBAN or not. That's a question the new board will have to decide on. The same for crowdfunding. What do we do with the crowdfunding? Do we accept them as an associate member? Probably not as full members, but at least as associate members. So all that work on criteria for membership is not complete. It has been completed only for bands. Now we have to work on the others. Second is to be much more formal on the questionnaire, on the self-assessment of the ban for the ones that want voluntarily to adhere to the qualification process. And we are going to go through a process of certification by an external body of IBAN itself. To do that, we have to define much better, and the new board, the new executive committee, and the new president will have to do it, to define exactly what are the objectives of IBAN, what are the processes through which IBAN is going through, and to define them, and then to show to an external body that this is really what we want, and to ask for certification by that external body. This is the next step, and it probably will take at least a year to go through that process. So it's a very important process for the IBAN members, because we really need to have help and support to the young bands and to the mature bands that have some sustainability issue. But also it's very important from outside to demonstrate that the bands are more and more professionals and are really worth being connected with by co-investment, which today is something which most of the co-investors are asking for. So this is what we are doing. So I want to now turn to the next pillar, which is Paolo, the research and the benchmarking. Paolo, our new president, will come and explain what we are doing in that direction.
Thank you very much. And I will do a speech in the end of the event, so I'm just here in this panel. And in terms of research, what we have done in IBAN, I've been chairing the research committee. We have been trying to have more data and more results for the community of business angels and the stakeholders that work with us. And we have been producing the statistics compendium. That was a document that was already being done in the past, and we have produced 2 new reports: tax break report and co-investment fund report. That is really important, as we have been discussing these 2 days. And we have been working in other areas in terms of the research, like we are guaranteeing deal by deal in order that we can track the rate of return of that company and the impact that company can make. If you imagine that one company that invests a certain amount of money, then produces a certain number of jobs, and that is funded by business angels, we have to tell Europe how powerful we are and that we create wealth. And so if we create wealth, then we have to have the support from not just the government, but also from the European Commission. So one of the works with the European Commission commissioned the work for CSCS. It's a UK company, and they are producing a report for the European Commission trying to measure the market of business angels, if it is not just the visible market, but the invisible market that is much larger than we all expect. So Michael Gardiner is here, is responsible for the company, and he will present the study. Thank you very much for coming.
While we're waiting for the presentation, I'll start anyway. Okay, yep. This is a study that's been commissioned by DG Enterprise, and where IBAN are very kindly cooperating and helping. And the objective of the study is to look at the business angel market, both the visible market and the non-measured market, which potentially is actually quite big. I think everybody heard yesterday from Jean-David Mello about the policies that the Commission are doing, and this is one of the supporting studies to help them understand how big the market is and to help them define some of the policies they have. And it's really looking at 6 countries, as you can see up on the screen: France, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Poland, 8 countries, Sweden and the UK, so about 2/3 roughly of the population of the EU. The study will be completed in 2012. And I guess that trying to measure the market and business angels is a little bit like we might say herding cats. How do you define the market? There is clearly a top-down definition of the market, which is quite a formal definition, which you've heard about, and an organized and measured aspect of the market. And underneath that, there is a very large number of people who are investing in other companies, and many of those probably have characteristics of angels, and I'll try and say a few words about how big that might be, and at the end of the day, why it matters. Right, if we, there's been some survey work done by the Global Entrepreneurship Project to try and look to see the numbers of people that invest in other companies or invest in companies, and something like 3% of 18 to 64-year-olds have invested in businesses over the last 3 years, and that's pretty consistent across many countries. It's actually higher in the US. Sweden, surprisingly, is higher. There's perhaps of the countries we're looking at, there's no data for Poland, but it's pretty consistent. And of course, not all of these are by any means business angels. The vast majority are sort of friends and families, people investing in their own business, but perhaps between about 5 and 10% of that group invest in strangers' businesses. So you've got quite a sort of anarchic market covering all the various characteristics that we saw of people who invest in other businesses. And that would suggest that there might be 300,000 to 500,000 such people across Europe who are investing in other people's businesses. That's pretty much in line with a study that the OECD did a few months ago. It would even suggest that it's in line with the US, but I think if you do that sort of bottom-up study in the US, you'll actually find a much larger number of people investing, so nobody would suggest that the market in Europe is in any way comparable directly with the US market, but there is this big tail of investors beyond the sort of measured market that we have. So, just looking at the graph, something like we heard earlier that EBAN recognized perhaps about 75,000 angels, and that's sort of top-down measurement, if you will, of the market. If you look at this sort of survey from the bottom up, there's a much larger group of individuals who might be operating in this way. Some will have characteristics of business angels, some may not. It's a group we don't know a lot about, but it's an important group because it does indicate that the numbers of investors are out there are very much greater. Okay. Sorry about this. There's no real consistent data on the amount that these guys are investing. The EBAN data, which I think is the best data that's available for about a quarter of that group, suggests, as we've heard, that 3 to 4 billion euros a year is invested. Almost certainly this other bigger group isn't investing as much per person, so the total investment is greater. How much greater? We don't yet know. We're still working on some of the numbers and seeking to get some information on this. And numbers in some cases are available from the use of tax breaks where countries offer particular tax breaks. Another aspect of a study is to look at the way in which countries have assessed business angels and the way in which they've looked at those. And I think this kind of matters for two reasons. One is, given this sort of very large market, it's important that governments don't do things that will disrupt the market. I mean, it's quite possible that governments, for example, will put in securities legislation that prevent the operation of the business angels market. There are other sorts of legislation that can affect it. It's important that governments understand about the size of the market so that the legislation that they put through doesn't disrupt it. And on the more positive side, governments, of course, are supporting the business angel community, partly through tax breaks in a number of countries, partly through direct subsidies towards networks or meetings of networks in a few countries. The UK and Netherlands are perhaps examples. And, of course, we've heard a lot at this conference about the co-investment funds. So there's a series of support areas. What is interesting is that there are only a few real proper assessments of those by governments across Europe so far. Most of those are very positive. And, of course, individual organisations or networks have also carried out assessments. And I think one of the ways of looking at this is to see how quickly jobs are being created by angels, and usually this is pretty fast, and the return to government from social security taxes and potential increase in employment gives really quite a positive return to government money that's going into this. That's a very brief overview of some of the emerging findings of this study. It'll be complete in the middle of this year, and we certainly are very grateful to EBAN for the input that's come from this study. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I think we can turn now to the next pillar of our work in EBAN, which is the lobbying activity and the training activity that Luigi will explain to you.
I would also need the next presentation. Thank you. Can we have the next presentation on the screen, please? Okay. if there is no presentation, I think I can talk. Okay, okay, thanks. Yes. So, okay, if you can move to the next slide, please. Okay, I can do it myself, maybe. Okay, so I've been chairing these two committees for IBAN for the last year, the lobbying committee, previously chaired by Anthony Clark, and the training committee for the last 2 years. On the lobbying committee, I just wanted to quickly review what were the overall objectives of the lobbying committee. We have been in the radar of the European Commission, and we've been in the radar of the European investment funds and all the institutions. And of course, our main objective has been to promote the asset class of the business angels, especially not so easy the business angel networks, as they are seen as a strange animal with strange and variable governance all the times. But we've been trying to say that, you know, this is the best way to attract early stage deals. We've been looking for support to financing of IBAN activities. As you know, we have one project now that is running, financed by the European Commission, but we've also been looking for more such kind of financing, maybe not only through projects, but maybe to annual support, like it is the case of other associations at European level that we know. And I think you've heard yesterday Mr. Malo indicating that that may be a direction they are considering, and also raise the perception of the quality and the professionalism of our asset class, because we are not only strange animals, but we are also an asset class that doesn't look very professional with respect to, you know, VC funds and other kinds of investors classes, which seems to be better organized, but not necessarily because we are angel networks or seed funds. We don't have our processes and procedures. So we've been supporting that as well, with the long-term focus of having IBAN, you know, in the radar of the main stakeholders, and to have IBAN really representing the whole asset class of early stage. In terms of the short-term deliverables that have been in the past, now it will be up to the new board to decide what will be for the future. But definitely what we have seen is that, you know, it is important to meet those people more regularly. We tend, you know, in the past to meet these people maybe once a year, you know, at events, and this is not enough. You have to meet them regularly, like every 3 months. You have to go there and make sure that this is something important for them as well, and you know, have a tangible support from the EC. As I just mentioned, it would be really nice if we can secure some resources for IBAN on that, and also follow up the conclusions of the cross-border committee that was just set up by DG Enterprise not so long ago, and out of which some of our members were part of. So I think that's for the lobbying, and if we can go now to the training. Okay, no, that's still the lobbying, sorry. There is another presentation on training. They look the same. Yes, okay. Well, yeah, okay. Training, again, what were the objectives? When I started in this committee, we had to define, first of all, we started from a direction of the board that IBAN is only doing training for angel network managers and seed fund managers, as there was the idea not to compete with IBAN members. And so we have defined the operational tools of the IBAN Institute. We have developed some basic content for the courses that we are delivering today. And we launched last year the first pilot in Warsaw, and then we had 2 more courses, and today there is 1 more course taking place this afternoon and the day after for about 12 people in between angel networks and seed fund managers. We saw that there is quite a nice mix of both of these 2 categories, and there is definitely an interest, especially from new countries that are coming to the early stage market. The focus for the training committees, of course, and now the IBAN Institute was to really support IBAN financially, but also, again, visibility, new membership, and the credibility of IBAN, again, in terms of professionalization and good standards of what we do every day. Okay, it's not, okay. So in terms of the short-term deliverables, we have delivered the training in Moscow. We are doing this today and the day after tomorrow. I believe it would be important, but again, it will be up to the new board to decide, but to look at cooperation also with other associations, see what are the spaces that we can fit in. We know, for instance, that EFCA is a very powerful training machine, and possibly there is some space for cooperation with them, and then start the campaign that Philippe was saying about the professional standards for then training also angel networks in order to increase their professional standards. We have started also a process of accrediting trainers. I think we have now 4 or 5 accredited trainers. There is room for more, especially in the early stage fund, as I'm today the only one. So if someone from the seed funds would like to join, you're most welcome. And I think then probably the new board will also find new ways and new activities for the training. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Luigi. And finally, we had, as you have seen, the last pillar, not the least important, but the last on the list on the cross-border activities. René is in charge of that, but Brigitte has been involved a lot and will talk about it.
Great. Thank you. So it's true that the statistics I showed yesterday, only about 2% or so, 2 to 5% of the deals right now are cross-border. But we know that more and more of our startups are in the internationalization phase. So certainly in the next couple of years, being able to accompany the entrepreneurs through their internationalization is going to be critical. And that's why we have dedicated one of our 5 pillars to cross-border. What we've been doing and in the last year or so, well, historically, and what we will continue to do is run events like these, because we know that for doing cross-border, it's all about first investors getting to know each other, trust each other from country to country, and then you can talk about deals. And so our 2 events a year, this one, and we hope many of you will come to our Winter University, kind of October, November timeframe. The second thing is creating on our platform for our members-only space. We have some shared deal space where our members can post a deal. And we had examples yesterday, and René was a great moderator of the shared deal deals. And in the pipeline, again, the new board has some ideas of what they will do to continue building on this pillar. So keep tuned.
Thank you. So I hope you have been understanding where we are in our action and how we try to face the different challenges we have in front of us in the environment. And I think you might have a lot of questions, and we can have a question and answer session now before the end. Question from anybody? Yeah, Frank?
Hello. The training, setting up training, trainers, accrediting trainers. I don't know of a concept like that in the United States. I don't know. Could you tell me a little bit more about the accreditation process? EBAN puts together a curriculum and trains the trainers, something like that? I'm curious.
Yes, yes. Well, what we have done was, in terms of accreditation of trainers, we have set, within the committee, the training committee, we have set certain standards that trainers should have to become IBAN accredited trainers. So 5 years of experience as either a band managers or a seed fund managers, a certain level of experience in talking to public or being a trainer, even better. So we did set up a set of criteria, and I think it was useful because although it was unfortunate, but we received some application of good people, but maybe, with not so much experience and so on and so forth. So it was a nice way, also to say to people, we have certain standards, we cannot have everybody in, but you're most welcome to, come back in a short time. And in terms of the courses, yes, we do have a structure for what we call the base course, which is business angel and seed training, and it's a course for entrance level. So it's just explaining the basics of how you do promotion, scouting, selection of deals, and so on and so forth. So that we have some basic materials we prepare for IBAN, and all accredited trainers can use this material. Yeah.
Other questions?
Michael, can you suggest some way to measure the invisible market in a better way and in a consistent way, not just once every 5 years? What can be done?
I think there are really three ways of looking at the invisible market. I mean, one is what IBAN tries to do at the moment, which is a top-down way of looking at it, which means going through networks and trying to ask networks of the potential size of that market, and that's a credible way of doing things. The other is surveys of large-scale surveys to find out whether people have invested or not and the extent to which that has been done. And those are actually done in many countries annually by the Global Entrepreneurship Project. Perhaps more could be done there, and perhaps that's something that IBAN might like to look at, and that's more a bottom-up way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is a number of countries operate tax breaks, and it's interesting to look at the value of how much the countries are providing in those tax breaks, and that gives us another way of looking at the market. So really there are three ways of looking at the market, and I'm afraid the answer is that one's going to get three slightly different results from that. But the nature of the market is that it isn't consistent, it isn't well known, and I think each of those results will measure slightly different aspects.
Thank you, Mike. Other questions from the floor? Yes? Julian?
Thank you. I just wanted a follow-up question about the research. Sorry, I'm behind the podium there. Is the European Union research going to be coordinating in any way with the OECD research that's been conducted on the angels?
Yes, we have. Yes, indeed, and I think the OECD research was quite or the bit that was published recently was quite was an initial piece of work, and OECD is going to do further work, and certainly they've been along at some of the steering committee meetings for this piece of work.
Other questions? Other questions? Okay. Okay, so I want to thank you, the panel, on your behalf. And I understand we have a break now. No?
No? No. Valuation.
Valuation immediately. Okay.
Martin's going to get...
Share deals. And then evaluation. Okay. So you...
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, everybody. We had a wonderful evening yesterday. Thank you, organization. Give them an applause, I think. It's very nice on the boat, seeing the Red Square. Yesterday we had some fun, but actually it's a quite serious matter. Young entrepreneurs with ambition searching for risk capital for growth. We had 8 nominees for the Shared Deals Award. Actually, it's a diploma, and of course, a big honor to get that prize. But let's see if they are here, and I will call them to the stage, and they can present themselves very shortly. I think within 45 seconds or a minute. Sergej Runov from the company Angelic S. Are you here? Please come forward. Yes, give him an applause. It was yesterday, it was 5 o'clock, and we were a bit tired, so come on stage, please. And tell in very short what your company is about, and so that we can remember your proposition. Very shortly, please.
Okay. Our company is offering a product, is developing a product, helping people avoid losing their belongings, valuable things. A Bluetooth tag.
Oh yeah, so it's a real thing for me because I lose always things. Thank you, Sergej. It's very interesting. Barbara Labat, Risparimo Super. Are you here or someone representing him from Cernikov? Okay, now. Oh. Okay, but I can't walk away. So maybe someone else can make an announcement. We go further because we have only 10 minutes. Evgeny Mativ from Avatar. Oh, they're all outside. Fatih Demir, are you here? Yes. You want to represent Avatar? Please come forward. I get a picture of ours you made yesterday. Please tell about Avatar. Very short.
That's a dynamic change of avatar on your social network.
Okay, thank you. You look wonderful, I must say. Fatih Demir, please, from this show.
Yeah, we are from Turkey. We have a website where our visitor can create their own product like T-shirt, mugs, stickers, and more than 100 more, and they can buy it easily.
Okay, yeah. And you had, how many customers you have already? That was quite impressive.
150,000.
150,000. Well, we're waiting for Barbara Labat. Then we have Karinina Zenina, when I'm correct. Are you here? Yes. Did I pronounce it badly? Okay. Please help.
We'll practice later.
Okay.
Ekaterina Zenina.
Oh, yeah, it's too difficult for me. Please.
We represent the project White Me. It's an application for quick connection of two devices and file transfer. And the technological spin-off from White Me is Perfect. It's a program for loyalty, cumulative loyalty program for retailers.
Okay. Do you remember that? Yes, huh? Soraya Kadid, also very charming. They're all very charming. I won't say anything about that. Oh, please.
My company is called InnoCrowd, and the objective, the aim, is to stimulate and accelerate innovation in organizations. For that purpose, we developed a platform, Web 2.0, that links investigators all around the world and organizations that need to innovate.
Okay. And then we have Andrew Savostovyanov. Oh, yeah. Okay. That was with the skiing, following the skiers thing. That was also interesting. But you will tell yourself, sorry. Okay.
So, Follow You is a unique technology for automatic video recording that can be employed in many areas, starting with consumer products for automatic video recording and saving video clips, and also it can be employed in marketing research and security products.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, Barbara Labat isn't here, I heard, but Luigi Amati and... Luigi, sorry, Capello. Okay, sorry, I'm a bit tired.
I'm not Barbara, I'm Luigi Capello.
No,
I'm an investor of Risparmio Super. I'm very sorry because Barbara left today. Yeah. Okay. Risparmio Super is a company that compare gross prices, grocery prices, and in this case you can have a list of your spending and you can choose the best shops where you can do it.
Okay. Thank you. So, and last but not least, Alexei Kainov from Future Services. Are you? He's there. So we won't wait any longer, I think. Yesterday we had a jury, and I want to thank them again. They were Jacek Blonsky, Jozef de Gelre, Radboud Dood, and Kendrick White. You know, Kendrick White came late, but he was at the end, he was there. Thank you very much, jury members. They made a votation by and we analyzed it, and it was very clear who the best presentation and proposition had. But I must say you're all winners, so give them all a good applause. Let's see if I don't miss anything. Yeah, it would be nice that the new president, Paulo, is Paulo? He isn't here. He's outside. And I asked him in front So, now then we'll ask, is there a volunteer? Will you give the prize, Philippe? Philippe's the senior of the audience. Please come forward. Please come forward. Here we have the Most Promising Deal Award with all the honor, and it is to this one.
Given to Barbara?
Yes.
Okay, so where is Barbara? You are Barbara.
Give it to Barbara.
That's Barbara. Okay. Congratulations, Barbara.
Thank you very much. Let's have a picture. Yeah, I must say there's nothing else to tell besides, of course, you can use the shared deals platform of the IBAN. Brigitte mentioned about it. It offers our members to put the propositions on our platform. Thank you, Philippe. Thank you, entrepreneurs. Thank you with the congratulations. Let's have now, what is it, a break? Yes, we have now a break. Thank you.
A quarter of an hour.
Oh yeah, and 15 minutes only.